What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, I host online conversations for fathers that is co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. Most Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I am joined by my great astute associate, Kinte Fergerson. Mr. Fergerson, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about this topic.
Oh, for sure. And when Kinte and I are together, we call it Black Man from north of the 49th and Black Man from south of the 49th. And if you don't know why that is, I live in Canada, in Toronto, and Kinte is in LA, in Los Angeles. He's in America, and in Los Angeles. And we're very blessed and highly favored tonight to have a special guest, a gentleman I've been blessed to know very much online over the last number of years, LeRon Barton. What is up, LeRon?
Hey, what's going on, Dr. Bob? Kinte, very nice to be here. Excited for this conversation. Dr. Bob, you and I, we go back quite some time. And so it's always been a really good time, always been a real good conversation. And I feel like this is an important topic to really speak on.
Well, we have always had good times, and I create the safe and brave space for you to make
Absolutely.
yourself maximum plus. So tonight, we're going to be having an epic conversation because I host Epic Conversations, and I love Epic Conversations. We're going to be chatting tonight about Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and the 2020 election. Who wants to chime in first? What was your reaction, gentlemen, when you heard about this announcement?
Kinte, do you want to start us off?
Okay. I'll start off by saying this. Let's start with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, going back to Obama, and I mean before that as well, Joe Biden has a long, terrible racist history. He basically is, he's a white supremacist in office. And so I didn't like him when he was Obama's vice president and before that. So when he got the nomination, people, it's so weird how people, they go, well, we need to get Trump out of here, but you're going to put his cousin in there, So, okay. So then they start talking about whose vice president pick was going to be. And they were saying that it was going to definitely be an African-American female, which, I think we learned from Obama that just because they're black doesn't mean, they're going to have our interests at heart. So, I mean, everybody that they talked about was questionable, but some of the other ones were way less questionable than this one. So basically, they picked the absolute worst of the bunch, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has a long history of being a attack dog for white supremacy, for being when she, if you guys know anything about you guys seen a movie called Fruitvale Station?
Yes, sir.
And about the Oscar Grant case. Now, that's the best way I can get people to understand, because people saw the movie and they cried. The part they didn't put in the movie is what happened after that. And Kamala Harris had a huge part in helping those people get away with what they did to him. I remember it vividly. I remember her vividly. And I've never was a fan of hers. I mean, and this is just one of many things that I can go on and on about Kamala Harris. And I'm sure as the night goes on, I will. I'll get to, because, none of us likes Trump. I'm not a Republican. I've always voted Democrat my whole life. But I can't stand Trump. I do not want him to be president. But, it's like a choice between a kick in the balls and a kick in the butt. They both gonna hurt.
Kinte, man, I definitely appreciate that. Starting off, like you and I, we pretty much feel the same way. I mean, Joe Biden throughout his history and politics has had less than favorable things to say and has done to African American people. I mean, this is the guy who co-wrote the crime bill. For those who don't know what the 1994 crime bill is, that was a response to crack cocaine, being flooded in the inner cities, which it's kind of hilarious, right? The government puts crack cocaine in the hood, puts boxes of guns. And Kinte, you being from LA, I'm pretty sure you've heard the stories of brothers saying, "Oh man, we would just find crates of guns dropped off by the trains, right?" So the government puts drugs in our neighborhoods, right?
Right.
Us being people that, we're pretty much locked out of the social contract, right? So we don't have any other way. I mean, like, we don't have a lot of means to make money. And so what we do is we begin to sell drugs. And so the drug epidemic blows up, right? Like, white folks start to get hooked on drugs. And so because of that, the government needed a huge response, and that's how the 1994 crime bill was birthed. The crime bill is pretty much responsible for what mass incarceration is. If it's not chiefly responsible, it's one of the biggest contributors. People want to know, Kinte and Dr. Bob, why are there so many black men missing? Why aren't there any black men hardly in the households, on the jobs, enrolled in college? Crime bill is a big reason why. So you have a person who is going to be president. Who's a Democratic nominee, who's just pretty much partly responsible for destroying a generation of black people, right? I mean, I love this stat because it hammers home how just severe mass incarceration is in our neighborhood. For every 100,000 people locked up, 8,000 of them are black men. There are more black men locked up in America than there are women in countries such as the UK, such as China, India, just not black people. And let me, hammer that home again. Mass incarceration is a black male problem. So what the crime bill did is it effectively targeted black men. To quote political commentator Yvette Carnell, when you have that, when the numbers are that large, gentlemen, that's no longer a personal choice, but that's a systemic effort to lock up black people, specifically black men. So Obama, who I'm not a fan of, I think he was one of the biggest cowards I've ever seen in my life. He chose Joe Biden as a running mate, which says a lot about Barack Obama and how he views blackness. But he chose Joe Biden because of the fact that Joe Biden could appeal to, I guess, kind of middle of the road. I don't want to call them conservative, but sort of middle of the road white voters, right? So he chose Joe Biden as a running mate. And if you look at Joe Biden's history, besides the crime bill, right? I mean, the fact that he was friends with segregationists, the fact that he opposed busing. I mean, if you even listen to the way he talks to black people today, I'm just like, wow. But, as Kinte pointed out, because we're so afraid of Donald Trump, and listen, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I think Trump is in total embarrassment, and that's saying a lot. But if we're going to be honest, Trump's policies have not directly impacted black folks the way Joe Biden has. So now enter Kamala Harris. To answer your question, Dr. Bob, I wasn't surprised. I mean, again, like Kinte, like, I have to applaud you because, you made a great point. Black folks are really caught up with symbolism. You know what I mean? Like it's forget that Kamala Harris was against realignment. And for those who don't know what the realignment was, it was a push by believe what was the California governor's name at the time, Kinte?
Gray Davis?
No, Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown. Okay.
Yes, Jerry Brown. The alignment was pushed by Jerry Brown to just essentially not empty the prisons, but depopulate the prisons, having people go to jail, having people go to in-house confinement, halfway houses, right? So Kamala Harris was against that because she wanted black men, the prisoners, to be used as firefighters. You're not going to pay them firefighter wages, right? These brothers are going to be risking their life, but because they make good labor fighting fires, you're going to risk their lives. So knowing someone like that, why would you want somebody to be a leader? I don't understand it.
I want to go back to the symbolism point. You know, I've said this before on other topics. Is they want to give you everything but what you're asking for.
Hell yeah.
It's like the person that asks you to come by and help them paint the house, but then they don't want to give you no money. But you know, I got some fried chicken, I got some potato salad, but no, I want the money. You know, and what happens is we keep accepting symbolism. We accept Bill Clinton playing the saxophone, or Hillary Clinton doing the Dougie. You know, that's supposed to mean something
ridiculous.
You know, or stuff like that, or Barack Obama, for example, being a black president. And what happens is symbolism does nothing. All it does is pacify people with no real gains. Whereas other groups who they're getting gains, they're like, forget that symbolism stuff. You know, we want gains. And they've been selling that to our community for so long. The symbolism game, we'll eat fried chicken with you. We'll come to your church. We'll say we listen to Cardi B, you know, and all of this kind of stuff that means nothing, while we do absolutely nothing. The benign neglect, as they've been practicing for so long.
Absolutely.
And they successfully give us these boogeymen. How many boogeymen we didn't have? We had Reagan was a boogeyman. Both George Bushes were boogeymen. We had John McCain, Mitt Romney. You can't let no Mormon get in there, you know. Right. You know, and then now they got the ultimate boogeyman, Donald Trump, who you know, is the perfect boogeyman. But I think after the Obama presidency, you have a lot more black people starting to become more aware. It's not the numbers that we would hopefully have, and we have to get to the point where we start asking for tangibles instead of symbolism, and you know, and dancing with us and twerking and all of this kind of stuff, you know, but not promising anything.
I just want to jump in here and just shout out everyone who's in the room at the present time watching live. We got Dante, Dr. Tachi, Luke, Natasha, and Daniel. Also, always got to shout out Dr. Tachi, host of Mediascope, the livest broadcast about media, tech, and pop culture online on 5 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday evenings on Instagram Live. And then 6 p.m. Facebook Live, Periscope Live, WJMS Radio, and LinkedIn. Now, I know that people may have some things they want to come in and say live. If you want to do that, if you're watching on the Get Vocal platform, message me and I will let you in. Dr. Tati is saying, so what do you intend to do? And LeRon is saying, I haven't decided yet. Let me ask, with this situation here with Kamala Harris, who was a better choice in your opinion, gentlemen?
Honestly, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Harris. I voted for Warren. I thought Warren was the only person really talking about race in a real way. I thought Sanders was okay. I just think that Sanders was he's a class reductionist guy, right? Like, you know, he reduces everything in class, and he refuses to see that the problem isn't poor. The problem isn't, you know, the fact that, you know, you could be a woman or, you know, homosexual. The problem is that you're black. So I had a problem with Sanders there, but I did like his policies. Again, like after Warren didn't get the nom, and I just felt that Sanders he did a lot of things that he shouldn't have done as far as trying to secure the nomination. And honestly, like Biden was trailing dead last, right? He was like, well, I got my Southern firewall of Southern black voters. And, and Kinte, going back to what you said, man, like, we fell for the symbolism. You literally have black folks saying like, well, because he was second in command to a black man, I feel good about voting him. And I'm like, Barack Obama don't look at you in the same way that he looks at himself as far as being black. That's A. B, who cares if he can work aside a black man? That black man didn't do nothing for you. So but I think that black voters, and I could be wrong, I think we know white people better than they know themselves, right? And so they knew that white folks were going to vote for somebody that could not beat Trump. And it's unfortunate that when a lot of us casted our vote for Biden, we didn't ask for anything in return. We were just like, okay, he's friends with Barack Obama. Cool, vote for him. Oh, well, we need to get Trump out. Yeah, but it's like, you still have to get something for your vote. Like, I just wish we knew how powerful we were. And I just wish we understood that voting is transactional and that every other people, y'all better be for this or we're not voting. And, the Democrats, they knew we were going to vote for the Democratic nominee, so they didn't have to do nothing for our vote. And this is where we are.
Before I say anything, I've actually expressed my feelings about this election to people, and people who don't know my personal background. I've been called, I'm part of the problem, like all the different things that people said. And I got to first of all clarify that I've worked in politics since about 12 years old, in local politics. I've worked for a city councilman. I've worked to get the vote out for many years. I used to be one of those people that believed in voting. I would be one of those people. Unfortunately, back in the day, I was one of those you're part of the problem type people, and I would work to get people to vote and all of this kind of stuff. And I worked for politicians, and I worked on political campaigns, and I've dedicated a lot of my early life to that. And one thing that happens is when you are in that mix, even it was at a local level, that you get to see how the sausage is made. And to be honest with you, it's disgusting. One thing I've learned from those experiences and just the experiences of just what I see is that politicians only respect you when you hold their feet to their fire. Right. And if you don't hold their feet to their fire, it don't matter what, if it's a Republican, a Democrat, or whatever, they understand force. So I give you an example. President Obama won, and then the Tea Party came out, and they were basically putting feet to their politicians' fire. Now, we don't agree with what they were shooting for, but that idea of, pushing, and making your voices be heard rings true. So what I would say is pretty much anybody they were going to run up there was going to probably be a jackass. So excuse my French, even though that wasn't French. So to be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily matter who they have as long as we have the right mindset. So if it's Kamala Harris, if it's Joe Blow, whoever, we as a people, specifically black people, have to, whoever it is, hold their feet to the fire. If it's Trump back in there, we got to hold his feet to the fire. And we have to stop accepting symbolic gestures. Absolutely. And have a actual platform of what we need to accomplish. And so Kamala Harris is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they probably are going to win, more than likely, right? Okay, they get in there. Mm-hmm. They get in there, we got to stay in their butt. We have to stay in their butt and keep the foot there the whole 4, 8 years, whatever it is. So I feel like that's what is necessary. It honestly, if they got the Rice, what's her name? Rice.
Susan Rice.
She's cut from the same cloth. All those people are cut from the same cloth, whether they're black, white, female, or whatever. They all have the same mentality. And when you work in politics, you see, even local politics, they all have this same mentality, and it's not for you. It's, you know, for their whatever allegiances they done pledge. It ain't for the people.
Yeah, no, like I totally agree with that, man. But here's the thing, though, Kinte and Dr. Bob, and this is something like that I've been asking people. If they get elected, you know, how you gonna hold them accountable? Like, you know, they already got your vote. So it's like this, like that's for me, you guys, that's the thing that just made me so frustrated about this entire election cycle. It's like we had a chance to truly demand something, right? And it's just like, well, you know, I understand what you're saying, LeRon, but let's get Trump out. And I'm like, okay, I mean, listen, like no one's denying that Trump is terrible. Like, you know, the dude is an upfront white supremacist. I get that. But we're just giving our vote away, man. Like every other, I mean, it kills me that it's like, it's just like with the Black Lives Matter movement 2020, right? So George Floyd gets killed, Ahmaud Arbery gets killed, Breonna Taylor gets killed, right? And while you have some people who are demanding real systemic change, you got folks that are satisfied with streets painted as Black Lives Matter, statues being torn down. I mean, and as you said earlier, Kinte, everything is given to us except what we want. I mean, this. I'm sorry, Dr. Bob. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
I'm just saying, like it's like, yo, like we should be standing up to Joe Biden or to Kamala Harris and saying, whoa, if we vote for you, what are you going to give us? Yeah, look, I know that the USPS is one of, if not the biggest government employer of Black folks, right? The post office, we need the post office to be open, and I get that. But I'm talking about something specifically for the folks, and we're not asking for that. We got two people that don't believe in reparations, which is just like ridiculous. We have Joe Biden, who is not for defunding the police, who is not for a federal decriminalization of cannabis, which is one of the biggest reasons of having Black folks locked up. We have Kamala Harris, on the other hand, who said in a video specifically she won't do nothing specifically for Black folks. So, but we're so gung ho on voting for these folks. I'm like, wow, like it seems like we just playing ourselves, man. And that's what angers me. Is like we have all this power, yet it's like, well, you know what? As long as we get Trump out, and I'm like, okay, we get Trump out, then what? Is stuff just going to magically get better for us? Like, no. Like, so I haven't voted Democrat since Obama. I didn't vote for Clinton. I thought she was a stone cold racist. There was no way in hell that I was going to make that move. And as scary as Trump is, y'all, I just don't think that I can live with myself knowing that Biden is one of the reasons why there's so many Black men locked up for me to vote for him. I'm sorry. I can't.
Some people would say that Black women exerted some power getting Kamala Harris nominated as VP.
Because
I'm just saying what some people are saying. I'm not. What is your comment to that?
That's because Black men who could vote have their voting rights taken away from them. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe Biden. Look, y'all, don't play yourselves. Don't let them like gas y'all up and be like, Black women are the backbone. Look, the reason why that they're the backbone is because they locked away y'all husbands, sons, and brothers. Like, come on, man. It's like 1 + 1 is still 2, right?
Kinte?
Yeah, that is hilarious that black women got Kamala Harris in there. I don't think there was a meeting of black women and they chose Kamala Harris. I think it's one of those situations is that she's in there, so you do have some black women who are like, "Go ahead, girl," that kind of thing. But she wasn't on. She was really on. I think she didn't even say she was black until she ran for president, right? Didn't she say she was Asian, right? Like this is like a new thing.
I thought she was a person of color, something. Like I
No,
don't.
no, I think she referred to herself as Asian until recent. I mean, it's really irrelevant. The truth is, Kamala Harris. I don't. Black women didn't exert nothing to get Kamala Harris in there. They put their girl in there because they did it as for symbolism, and they know that she's vetted. She's already vetted, and she's gonna do what they need her to do. So.
So if the Democratic Party did not nominate Kamala,
Mm-hmm.
how much would that have affected their chances of winning the election?
Look, man. Honestly, this is just my opinion, because people are so laser focused on getting Trump out and not actually talking about what they need, what they want, what you need to do to get my vote, right? It wouldn't have mattered. Like, look, this is just the way I see it, Kinte. I would love your take on this. The people that were going to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump. The people that were going to vote for Biden were going to vote for Biden. All this, y'all need to put a black woman in. Man, look, I'll admit the donations have went up, right? You're like, his Joe Biden's I guess chest of for political ads and
Oh yeah, well no, the first 2 days after Ms. Harris was nominated, they raised more money than Biden did all of last year.
Okay.
Or is it 28? I think 2018, maybe 2018 or 2019.
Oh.
One of those 2 years.
Okay.
I think probably 2018.
Cool though, but check it out though. Do you really think that swayed like middle of the road voters? I don't. I'm just saying. Again, man. Like we're dealing with a country that is like steeped in racism, white supremacy. It doesn't matter. Like going back to what Kinte said, man. It's all about symbolism. I don't think that mattered. Sorry.
No, I don't think it mattered either. But it's one of those things is once they make it happen, then they can spin it the way they need to spin it. My thing is like this is that nobody they were gonna have was gonna be awesome. So because at the top of the ticket, look who they have. But what I'm saying is that we can't just give them the vote because of fear. That is our biggest problem, is that we do it too much. We've been doing it for the last gazillion years.
Kinte, I'm just gonna interrupt. You said a very important point. One of the key aspects that political parties run on is fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you look at this election, from where I'm sitting, Democrats are putting the fear of the current president, saying, and it was the same in the last elections, even more so now, the whole fear factor. And then the Republican Party is saying, well, your president's saying, if you vote the Democrats, all the suburban women, your life is going to be changed. Your life, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be. So it's fear coming from both sides. I just want to, before I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm just going to read something here. Mafume saying building chains take steps, playing the game. Most take longer than wanted. Beat 40. I don't say the gentleman's name. Beat 45. Get back to normal. Hold term. Vote them out. The point is that we have to play the game as a nation by everyone voting. Democracy is supposed to work for everyone. If you don't come to the game and vote, then
look.
And then Dante says Stacey Abrams would have been the best pick. And Stephen is saying you'll never see, quote, normal again.
Can I jump in on that?
Sure. I just want to take a break and catch everything up.
Check this out. There's normal's done. Look, this coronavirus, and it's something like that. I tell my lady all the time that everything that was before the coronavirus, that don't matter no more. You dig? What matters is now. We're never going back to that. It's over. It's a wrap. That's like history class. Yeah, like 2019's history class, right? Trump has set a precedent so crazy that getting back to normal, that just even from a political stance, well, we don't know what normal is. What we have to do is we have a chance to chart a new trail here. The fact that we are throwing our votes behind a centralist candidate. I mean, this guy just, all right, look, think about this, right? Kinte, and you are an LA guy. I'm pretty sure you know about the 3 strikes law, right?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
So that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the 3 strikes law was a part of the 1994 crime bill. Mandatory minimums is a part of the 1994 crime bill. You guys, man, and I'm gonna keep it all the way live here. So I am very passionate about ending mass incarceration. I've written about it. I've spoke about it. Before Corona, I taught at the county jail in San Francisco doing a creative writing class. So my skin's in the game here. To be a black man is to know that there's a and get caught up in, and when you're caught up, it's hard to get out, man. So I find it astoundingly sad that people don't care about that. That it's like his history towards mass incarceration, her history towards mass incarceration is not a factor. And Kinte, Dr. Bob, that almost makes me cry, because you know what? Yeah, they locked up. All right, cool. What he did, what she did was terrible, but we need to get Trump out. Like, really? Like, I mean, like, is that all that it takes? I mean, maybe like, I think it's because I'm black in America. And so, to quote the great Malcolm X, being black, I was born in a prison. So none of this stuff that we're going through seems out of the ordinary for me. You dig? Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, okay, well, every day, all day, other folks are bugging out. I'm like, y'all, look, this is what it means to be black. So, and maybe I'm just not understanding the severity of it. But again, like, we're throwing our vote away and we're not demanding anything about it. And there's not going to be no change, man.
Amen.
Kinte?
Amen. No, I agree with him, man. It's, I understand what Mufuni's he's saying, and I would have made that argument years ago. But, the idea of get Trump out of there and replace him with Joe Biden, that's, it's like you're still taking steps backwards, right? So it can't just be get Biden in here. He's going to be some sort of savior. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room besides his history. Let's talk about his present. Dude is not fit to be president. He don't even know what day it is. I mean, are we going to act like that's not a real thing? He clearly has dementia. The guy clearly is lost it. He says, I mean, he always was saying crazy stuff all the time. But so he clearly, there's something going on with him mentally. And it's funny how people just act like that's not a thing. He's seriously, something's wrong with him. Kamala Harris is probably excited because, she might end up becoming president, if they end up winning.
Well, okay. So just let's stop right there. I want to ask both of you, on a scale of 1 to 10, if the Democrats win the presidential election, mm-hmm. how probable is that we will see Kamala Harris as president in the next 8 years?
I think it's pretty probable, man. I mean, like, Kinte, great point. once again, my brother, I mean, Joe Biden, he's not all there, man. Listen, Mafune, so you say Biden has a speech impediment. Listen, I have that same speech impediment. He and I both stutter. That's not the point, fam. There are times his cognitive abilities are not sharp, man. So we're risking, like, if you were to tell me, if Mafune was to say, LeRon, let's just keep it all the way funky, right? We're not putting him in there. We're really putting in Harris. I can respect that a little more. I wouldn't like it, but I can respect that. But Kinte's right, man. His mental state has diminished greatly.
Yeah.
So then Democrats would say, and what about your current president's mental state?
Look, man, that dude, he may be a total moron, but I don't want to come off like I'm defending Trump, right? Because Trump is he just doesn't know what's like. He doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? And he's so basic. But Trump is quick. We're going to see that in these debates. Trump is going to destroy him. Like it's not. If you look, Trump had his way with Clinton, and Clinton's one of the smartest women to ever run for, probably the smartest candidate to run for office in the last 25 years. Joe Biden is not all there. Trump is going to wipe the floor with him.
You know what? I think your current president he would want to debate Ms. Harris.
I don't know about that, but you know what? I'm gonna watch some debates, so this should be interesting. I don't know how Creepy Joe is gonna do in those debates.
I wouldn't be if I from the Biden camp, I wouldn't even debate him.
Yeah,
because really it will hurt him less potentially not debating him than potentially debating him.
Why do you think? Look, you guys and P came here. Y'all notice he's never really around for any type of comments or
doesn't have to be
any kind of statements.
He doesn't have to be, because the thing is, your current president is making it all about him. So he doesn't have to be. If he's smart, he shouldn't even have to debate. I don't think it would affect the outcome that much.
And I want to make something clear, and I think I can speak for LeRon. Neither one of us are Trump supporters. So, because people like to, when you don't just blindly support the Democrat, then they try to say, "Oh, so then you must be for the other guy," which is silly, which is absolutely silly. But it's like, you got to think of it in relationship terms. They're both abusive spouses, but except for one will kill you, and the other one is going to leave you in a coma. So,
well, okay, so just catching up on some comments here. Dante says that Biden had a brain aneurysm. Mafume is saying Harris is clearly number 47 in 4 years. That's the plan I'm seeing. Dante's saying 45 is scared. Luke is saying Mayor Pete would have burned 45 in a debate. Luke is saying Mrs. Warren was his number 2 pick. Mafume is saying, I don't think Biden is as incapable as you think.
Okay. It's going to be interesting to see them two go at it. It might have been more interesting 4 years ago in the debate. So, it's going to be, it's going to definitely be must-see TV if it happens. So, but at the end of the day, does it really even matter?
Right.
I want to pivot the conversation for a little bit, and you both, or I know LeRon talked about power.
Mm-hmm.
Do Black Americans really have power?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my definition of power, and I want to hear you. Power is doing what you need to do, regardless of what opposition that you have.
Yeah, I feel like we do have power. We just don't know it. We don't know how to access it. So, I mean, you can make the argument since since we don't know how to access it, maybe we don't have it. But I never want our people to feel like we're powerless. We are very powerful, but we need to know how to access our power, and we need to. That's one of the biggest things. So when we talk about power in those terms, yeah, of course, yeah, we have power.
LeRon?
Man, like, I mean, so on one hand, your definition of power, Black people, I would say no, to be honest with you, and the reason why I'm saying it is because there's a difference between living and surviving, right? Something like that. My father, he would always tell me, and I think that Black people, for the most part in this country, have been surviving. And that's because we live in a system of racism, white supremacy. And so I think that, for one, we're 13 to 14%, I think between 12, 13, 14% of the population. A lot of Black folks, unfortunately, are unemployed, underemployed, and or victims of, a mass incarceration system, or, Scotty Reed of Black Talk Network would say 21st century slavery. I think that we have always done what we could. Like, for me, power means that I can just live my life without any restrictions, right? Which means that, you know what, I'm just gonna be LeRon Barton. Like, I don't have to think about anything that will impact me, right? And I just don't think that I don't think that we have that, man. I mean, I don't think that we've ever had that, and that's because, we, ADOS people, American descendants of slavery, those who have roots here, we've always been defined by that. Again, Yvette Carnell of Breaking Brown, she talks about how we've been sort of bottom cast. So I mean, yeah, we've seen a Black president, but he's had to totally disregard Black folks. That's not power. I mean, that Black folks are only able to do what we can do to survive and not thrive. Not as as a whole. Yeah, all right, cool. LeBron James is paid. Oprah, she got money. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, they're able to move around. But as a whole, nah, we don't have power.
Kinte, you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I definitely understand where he's coming from. When you put it in those terms, we don't. But I don't want to tell Black people they don't have any power. We have power. We just have to learn how to access it and wield it in ways. I mean, you go throughout our history as Black folks, even being on, down, and we've had to reach within. Think about us in the civil rights movement, not having power, but becoming powerful, So, I understand where LeRon's saying, and he's right in a lot of ways, but I don't want us to feel 100% hopeless, though. Now, to just call our shot and do whatever we want, no, we're not there, not at all. But it's just, I guess it's the way that you define the power.
So what should Black Americans be asking their candidates for in this upcoming election?
I think we should definitely ask. First off, what's your plan on fighting police terrorism? And and if you start with training, mute, delete them, because I mean. There's too many, this is not just a department, a person, he coming from the wrong side of the tracks. He doesn't know how to deal with Black folks. No, this is a systemic issue. Notice, I've said that term consistently throughout this conversation, systemic issue. I think that there needs to be a total overhauling of police and the way that police interact with Black folks. Joe Biden says, well, I think that, what do you say, neighborhood policing is an option. Fam, has that ever worked? again, that's pretty much stating that you think that the relationship between police and black folks can be fixed. I believe. I mean, I think that we have proof throughout the years that it is just inherently broken and it needs to be uprooted. Stephen said it worked in some parts of Oregon. Stephen, with all due respect, how many black folks are in Oregon? See, I'm not talking about, like a local, like the local cops hanging around a small white town, because police treat us differently. You dig? Secondly, I would ask them, are you going to decriminalize marijuana? That's a big thing, you guys. I don't think that we quite understand that. Even with marijuana being legal in places like Colorado, like the arrest rates for black and brown folks still shot up. I would also ask, we need medical insurance, man. I believe in medical insurance for all. So I mean, for me, police terrorism, mass incarceration, medical care, and also, and this is my thing, reparations for ADOS people. We need reparations. That is the only way to close the racial wealth gap. It is not going to school. It is not jobs. It is not home ownership, because we're so far from white folks. It is crazy. Like the last report I saw, Dr. Robin Kinte, it'll take us over 220 years just to catch up with where white folks are now. That's if they're not moving. That's if they're not getting no more money. So yeah, we need those are things that we need.
Amen.
Kinte, what should Black Americans be asking their candidates for?
Yeah. Right now, one of the biggest thing, I love how, what you said, LeRon, about police terrorism. We can't act as if that, like you said, training is going to satisfy it, or it's not training. They know what they're doing. So it's not, it's no kind of training that's going to change anything. That's one thing. Reparations is another. This has to be made right and made whole. And then also is they have to start lumping the gains with people of color or minorities or these other things. We got to talk about specifically for black people. And if we don't do that, they'd love to do that. And then what ends up happening is you end up nothing, And so we have like a long list of things that we need to ask of our candidates. And we got to stop acting like we're scared to ask for something, If you want to go on a date with me, then you're going to have to take me to an expensive restaurant. You're not taking me to Chipotle.
Olive Garden, no.
Right, no Olive Garden.
No Olive.
Okay? No, you got to take me to an expensive restaurant. Don't treat me like a $2 hoe. So, but we have to get to a point where we no longer accept anything. And that's one of our biggest problems in our community. And then also, you have people who start speaking for us that don't speak for us. And we have to weed those people out. We have to do that internally. So you have people who they say that they're going to speak on our behalf, but they're not really on our behalf. And I can go down with a list of people on there, but we won't do that tonight. But you've heard me talk about them. So, we just have to change our mindset as a people. Until our mindset changes, we're going to find ourselves in the same situation that we've been in for so long.
How critical is this presidential election for Black Americans or African Americans? How critical? Because both of you said it's almost like the lesser, like it's the devil you know and the devil you don't know, or the lesser two evils. Do you see it in that setup?
I don't think. I think it's really the aftermath is the most important of it, because if like I said, if Biden, who it looks like he may win. We don't know, but you know, um, Biden, looks like he may win. If he does, we can't treat that as if we won. You know, that's the biggest problem is we can't treat it like if Biden wins, it's like, oh man, woo, the day is saved and all of that kind of stuff. So we have to say, okay, he won, cool, whatever. Now got to get to work, And I mean, but the work begins before he wins too. Let me make that clear. But I'm saying that post-election, we got to be strong.
That's real talk. I think that any election is gonna be crucial to the folks. You know what I mean? Luke said, Kanye, listen, any serious political discussion should not even mention Kanye West's name. I mean, like Kanye, he's just a guy who's just trying to just get attention. I do think Kanye does make some good points as far as Black folks being tied to Democrats, but that's as far as it gets. Kinte, the thing that I'm afraid of, and I think Biden does have a good shot of winning. Although I don't believe a lot of white voters who say, yeah, I'm not voting for Trump, because the numbers, they don't really tell that story. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of white people that are going to vote for Trump. They're just not going to say it in public because, that's like the scarlet letter, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're a Trump voter. We're not going to serve you. I think that, I'm sorry, going back to what Kinte said, I'm afraid of like that all the inroads, all the movement that we made is going to be, shuttered if Biden gets in there. Because see, if you look at it, right, a lot of the grassroots movements, not Black Lives Matter because they ain't grassroots, right? But I mean, like a lot of the grassroots movements, if you notice, like, their solution to police terrorism is voting, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, again, like Black Lives Matter came to fruition when Barack Obama was president, right? I mean, I'm, watching the same thing everyone else is watching. He didn't do nothing. If anything, I think Barack Obama signed like some type of blue lights, blue lives matter, something like that, where I think that they made police a protected class, right? And so, if with that being said, how does voting stop that? Like, especially when you have a person like Joe Biden, who is for increasing monies to the police, right? You have a person like Kamala Harris, going back to what Kinte said, didn't really address the Oscar Grant situation. She didn't. There was a lot of people in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. She didn't touch them cases of Black people and brown people getting killed by police terrorism. So I don't know, like, I just, we just have to just wait and see. I'm just more worried for me, Dr. Rob, I'm just more worried about the post office because, a lot of the folks are employed by the post office. So I'm just trying to just watch to just see how that plays out. But I mean, it is what it is.
All right, gentlemen, I think we've covered a lot, and I think we're going to start winding it down. Want final comments from both of you, where people can get in touch with you, and who do you think, if the election was held tomorrow, who do you think would win? So we'd like to go with our guest first. LeRon?
You can find me at www.LeRonBarton.com. It's my website. It has a lot of my writings, a lot of my speeches, pictures of me cheesing, and just, you can always also find me at Twitter at Mainline LeRon. I'm on Instagram at LeRon L. Barton, and I'm always looking for a good conversation. if you liked what I had to say, fantastic. If you didn't, that's all good too. You know, I'm always up for a good debate. Just no nasty grams, because you know the world needs positivity. As far as who I think will win, we'll see. You know, Trump, his handling of the coronavirus has just been inept to just. I mean, it's been totally ridiculous. You know, a friend of mine has said the reason why these other countries have gotten a hold of it is because they've attacked situations as a country, not as, you know, sort of piecemeal. So now, you know, now you got Trump saying wear masks, when it's like, well, dude, like, you know, Ireland's out of it, China's out of it, you know, India has done a better.
South Korea, right?
I'm sorry?
South Korea as well, right?
So South Korea's out of it. So it's like, you know, what are we doing? So I think that people are so just over Donald Trump that I think Joe Biden will win. But again, man, like, you know, them debates, and the thing about Trump, and this is what people don't understand, is like, he doesn't play fair. He plays dirty. So it's like I remember, and I'll never forget this, during the debates, I could just tell Trump was just such a goon, like, in his debates towards Hillary Clinton. So all that political correctness, all that, you cannot wrestle a hog and not get dirty. So if the elections were today, I think Biden would win, but you know, we still have enough time. I mean, you know, we still got time left, man. Like, I would not be surprised if Donald Trump won again.
Kinte?
I would say if the election was tomorrow, Biden would win right now. He would definitely win now, tomorrow, if it was tomorrow. But we don't know in a couple of months what may or may not happen. So, you know, we'll see. Now, as far as how you can get in contact with me, you can get me on Twitter at Kinte Fergerson. I'm sorry, Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Fergerson on Instagram. And of course, the website is indyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. And right here at Get Vocal, as well as on Facebook, you can get my show, Men and Women Talk to Mars Venus show at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. And also on Tuesday, we do our show Cinema de Fromage, Cinema of Cheese, where we look at cheesy movies that are pre-1990. And we're now watching the film, then doing the podcast. So we'll stream it so that you can see the film. And this week it's Adventures in Babysitting. So I haven't seen that since I was like a kid. So we'll
super cool movie.
Yeah, I remember it being good. So we'll definitely we're gonna watch it and then we're gonna review it. And so it should be fun. So that'll, you know, if you're following me, we'll have links to all of that. But once again, thank you so much for just entertaining us. And you know, and hey, I'm looking forward to our next program.
Wonderful. Thanks to LeRon. Thanks to Kinte for dropping knowledge bombs as they usually do. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. You can find me at drvibeshow.com. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, and I'm the home of Epic Conversations 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And I also host, amongst many things online I'm doing these days, I host a monthly online conversation for fathers that is co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. I would like to thank everyone who caught this live or on the replay. Live Daniel, Luke, Dr. Tachi, Dante, Mafume, Stephen, Bobby, Dee, and Robert. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your positive, productive schedule to spend with us. Excuse me. I always end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. And we're going to continue the election talk as it gets closer. I know it's less than 100 days now, so it's counting down. So as the days get shorter, folks, the American election gets closer. God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, and walk good.